guys, and welcome to this week's M&A TV. Let's have a look at what's coming up in today's show. You get to hear all about Jody in this week's Meet the Team. Fran will be revealing how to find your perfect crystal. And we have a brand new segment brought to you by Chris himself. But first, here's Paranormal Chat with yours truly. Now this week is a little bit different to the usual. Instead of hearing from one person, you'll be hearing from several. I sent a question to some of our paranormal investigator friends for them to answer.
Hi guys, it's Bob from Keep It Real Paranormal, Spiritual and Paranormal before I get kicked. Now, I've only got 5 minutes, so I've had to cut a couple of stories out. We've been asked by Shal to give you stories that have shocked us while the cameras weren't running to record it. So, 2 have happened this year, and 2 are a little bit older. So they're 4 that I've picked out. Probably the most life-changing, not life-changing, that's wrong. The most evidential for me would be this year at Weymouth Hotel when we were setting up, ready to record. Sally switched on the spirit radio and the first thing that came out of it was, "Who are you?" Which was a bit of a shock. So we quickly introduced ourselves. It's only me and Sally in the whole hotel anyway. Not even any workers there. It's just us, 37 rooms. A female's voice then whispered yes, and the male come back and said, "Are you here to read my soul?" Which, you know, the first thing to come out, and I was still sorting my phone out, so that bucketed that up, but never mind. The second one from this year was Richard of Spiritual Production that had got himself a new studio, and it was the first time we'd been there. So our first time that we'd filmed in Portsmouth, and I went walking off down a corridor to the toilets and just felt an atmosphere that felt a little bit strange. There was definitely a presence there, like checking me out. And I didn't say nothing. I got back, and then 5 minutes later, Sally wandered off to the toilet. Was in the ladies, sat on there when there was a massive banging on the doors, and bang, 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 bang. So she come rushing out thinking it was me, playing a joke on her, and then realised I would have opened the door and just made a spooky noise or something rather than banging on the door. Come down to us. We were the only, myself, Sally and Richard, the only ones in the building. And me and Richard were in the room setting up ready for the night. Another unexplained. Since then, some other mediums have claimed there's a male spirit in there. Sally felt a bit of an unrested presence, shall we say. Others are picking up on a young child, so maybe different people are picking up different spirits. We'll keep going with that and see where we get. Going back some time, we used to have a psychic cafe, and we used to do a lot of spirit circles. There were development circles, there was a witchcraft circle, there was all sorts of different things happened in there. And one of the things we used to do was use our spirit box again. But then I started doing taxi driving. So on a Friday night, they would have to circle, but I would be out working. And the spirit radio quite often would apparently come out with, "Where's Bob?" Now, odd that they knew I wasn't there. But then when I would come back for tea break, you would often get them saying, "Oh, here he is," before I got into the building. So they knew I was turning up by what the radio was saying. Again, very, very weird. So the last one, we were talking in here. It's just me and Sally. We had all the doors locked, so knew no one could have come in. And we used to sit here quite often and talk spiritual stuff, if you like, about how it'd be great to develop a way of speaking direct to spirit, and you could have a real-time conversation. Them talking, and us asking questions, then reply straight away. And as we were talking that, there was a lady's voice, as clear as me and Sally talking to each other, that said, "Can you hear me?" Obviously, there was no one else in the place. So that was a bit of a shocker as well. Anyway, I'll leave you with them four. They were the top four. We could have gone on longer. There's loads we could have said. But we'll leave it there. All right, we're going to catch up with you soon. Take care. Shaun, Chris, Jody, enjoy. Keep safe in this lockdown, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, people.
Morning, guys. Allow me to introduce myself. My name's Rory. I'm a paranormal investigator from the Stourbridge area. Currently part of two teams, one of which I started with my best friend about 5 years ago, and the other team we investigate is another Stourbridge-based team that we're part of, and they've been investigating for probably well over 10 years. But anyway, cut a long story short, things that we've experienced and not caught on camera. One of the best experiences I've ever experienced was at a place over in Staffordshire way, and it was a really old hall with an adjoining cottage which the lady who owned the hall actually lives in. And it was a very quiet night. We had lots of table tapping downstairs in the great hall, a couple of auditory phenomena like with door handles rattling, etc. We got a lot of this on dictaphone, but after that it was very quiet for quite a few hours, and it got to about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. We thought we're going to wrap it up here. So while the team was wrapping up and packing up equipment, I went back upstairs with my cousin, who had literally, this is his first investigation he'd ever done with us. Went upstairs into one of the many bedrooms upstairs, which is like a small room, probably about, 12 foot by 12 foot squared, something like that. And we're in there. There's two single beds in there. We're sitting or standing up straight, smack bang in the middle of the room, and we decided to call out, basically, see if we can get one last try of trying to communicate with anyone. And after about 3 or 4 minutes, my cousin started to really get into it. He was quite sceptical actually before all this, and he asked out very politely. He said, "If there's anyone here who'd like to make contact, you can let yourself be known." And all of a sudden, in the dark, and you have to excuse my rubbish impression of this, we heard a really big, throaty moan, sort of like a gasp. And literally both of us shot off the floor, which is quite unusual for me because, as I say, I've seen a great many things in my time investigating, and even at my house when I was growing up as a child experienced a lot more stuff than this. But just the noise and how strong it was like there was someone in the room with us. And as I say, we both shot off the floor like a rocket. But anyway, as my cousin was making his way to the door, I said, "This is ridiculous. You can't just walk off now. We got to see what happens." So we stood again in the middle of the room, and we said, "If there's anybody here, can you let yourself known again?" And all of a sudden, straight away, at this point, we put the torches on, straight downstairs, asking everyone quickly, "Come and get your camera, come and get your dictaphone, bring the Kinect cam up there, the SLS, and let's see if we can get anything up here." But we went back upstairs, and it was just nothing at all for the rest of the night. It was so disappointing and frustrating because, as I said, it is the loudest auditory phenomenon I've ever heard by far. And there's two ways of always looking at it. Like we say, it's easy to get disheartened when you don't capture something via, if it's like a photograph or a video, or you manage to get some auditory phenomena on a recording device. But the main reason we do this is just to experience it, really, and we experience that, and it's fantastic. It just makes you know without a shadow of a doubt the stuff goes on, and it does actually happen. And as for my cousin, he's been a steady member of the team now since that happened. I mean, he's by far one of the most enthusiastic people we got in the team. I know my team itself, we've only got 5 people, and the other team we're part of was numerous, probably up to 10 people like that, and we're regularly investigating with them, and it's just fantastic. But as I said, one of the many things we've never got on camera, but probably one of the best purely because of how noisy and the actual volume of the groan. It's brilliant. But anyway, I hope you enjoy that, guys, and I hope I haven't rambled on. You have to excuse the lockdown hair I'm turning into Grizzly Adams slowly, but take care, guys. Thank you.
So one of the best experiences I've ever had, that could have been one of the best pieces of evidence that I've had, but didn't record, was during the early days of the group. And we managed to get permission to investigate one of our local pubs, the George and Dragon. And we went in there for the first night with the full team. And we did some investigating, got some interesting results, and we're quite happy. And when we came back in the next sort of 24 hours, I thought we could do better. So I wanted to see if we could go back, but with fewer people, and to see if maybe we could get more with just the two of us, me and Jody. Hence the George and Dragon Part 2. But what we were going to try was called the Singapore theory, or the theory of familiarization, and basically is to try and reenact or bring an atmosphere, a familiar atmosphere of familiar happenings or whatnot, to the location to see if the spirits are more inclined to come out. So in this case, it was a pub. So me and Jody bought some cider. We took a few bottles just to sit there and try it out. And as we were sat there on the tables, we were having a chat, drinking the cider and eating some of the snacks we brought. I looked up and basically said, if you want to come and join us, you're more than welcome to. As if I would talk to someone in the pub. And with that, me and Jody heard some footsteps. And when I looked up, I could see the K2 starting to go off as the footsteps finished. And I turned to Jody and said, please tell me you had the camera rolling. And Jody just turned to me and said, camera? We missed it. It literally was a direct response to my invitation. I invited them to come sit with us and have a drink with us. And they did. They didn't pull out any chairs, but they did. The footsteps came, and they came from down the corridor from the restaurant area, where we saw something through the archways on camera, and it came from down there, and it came through into the bar area and came straight to us. It was an incredible experience to see that happen and then get the verification off the K2, but gutting just to miss it altogether on camera. It was absolutely gutting. So that's my experience that I missed.
Yeah, thanks, Jody.
Okay, so two things that we never got on camera whilst investigating or caught on sound were both at Knowlton. The same night we had an audible growl as we approached an area known as the Wishing Tree, and later in the night, literally as we was packing up to leave the site, two of us witnessed a full apparition of a male in a tricorn hat moving past one of the windows at speed. Shame we didn't get them, would have been brilliant, but that's paranormal investigation for you.
What's the best evidence? This is actually from M&A. What's the best evidence we've missed by not having the cameras set up, or missed by not having the cameras pointing in the right direction when we've been on a location?
Evidence as in like evidence we've seen happen and we've missed it, or
basically we've witnessed but we haven't actually caught on video for one reason or another.
For me, without a doubt, would be the first time we went to the Ram, and you probably know what I'm going to say when I say that.
Yeah, I do actually.
And Probably Chloe will remember as well the phone call. But yeah, just sitting there watching back the live. I think it was before we started actually going into the investigation.
Yeah.
And what I mean, I don't know what else
For
makes
me,
the sound.
For me, the one was when we went into the cage and we first walked in. There was all them it's like shooting stars, because I've seen like orbs and stuff, but the way they come, it was like a load of tea lights flying around the room.
Vanessa,
Boys, right, John?
how's it going, John? Vanessa actually said about shooting stars as well, didn't she? If you remember,
she did.
That's how exactly how she explained it.
Yeah, but literally as we walked in, that was strange. I thought really strange.
Yeah.
I think that's where I decided to play dead and try and wind you up, wasn't
it? Yeah, straight away.
So I had a bit of a toilet break, so I lay on the floor and pretended to be dead.
Once again, we'd like to thank all of the teams and individuals who took part in that. Speaking from a paranormal investigator's point of view, it is a nightmare when that happens, when you witness or hear something amazing and then you realise you haven't got it on camera. It's just so disappointing, but we have to keep going, we have to keep trying and getting more and more evidence. But like I said, thanks to everyone who took part in that little section. Up next, you can hear from Jody in this week's Meet the Team.
Hello there guys, welcome to this week's Meet Me, featuring me. So, about me then. First got into paranormal investigating thanks to Chris, and yeah, I was a bit of a skeptic to begin with, but he said, oh come on, let's go for a paranormal investigation. So we went to the HMP Dana in Shrewsbury, where we had really fantastic night, you know, lots of activity. So it kind of changed me up. In the back of my head I've still got that bit of skepticism, but you know, I do believe, if that kind of makes sense. So my roles in the club are I'm the main cameraman. I'm the main cameraman. Verbal diarrhea there. Yep, so I'm the main cameraman. Although I do go on, you know, in front of the camera, doing ghostly tales and things like that. I really enjoy it. You know, I've always been interested in cameras as well, so the chance to, you know, be the one behind the camera, you know, doing all the stylish shots, yeah, makes me happy. So, main interests. Okay, so obviously the paranormal. Well, we'll go into that. You already know that I'm into the paranormal. I'm a scuba diver. Yeah, been to many places. I'm currently doing my dive master course, albeit that's on hold for the moment, because of our current situation. Been to many places. I mean, Chris and I went to Malta and Gozo. I'm hoping Charles will put some pictures up. You know, she's going to find them on my Facebook page. Yeah, so me and Chris went to Gozo. I went for a few dives during the couple of weeks that we were there. Been to Egypt. Been diving in Lanzarote, one of my favourite places. See all the angel sharks there, beautiful animals. Also taking an interest in astronomy. I've always been interested in things like that, but my dog barking in the background. I've always had an interest in astronomy. I'm going to arrange to get a pretty decent PC and really nice telescope that you can hook up to the PC and do things that way. Take some pictures maybe, and just get into it. Just get into it more than I am now. That's basically me, really. I'd just like to say, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching all of our paranormal videos, and I say this series. It's really been fun putting this series together. The M&A TV. I don't want to waffle on too long. So next week you'll be hearing from Shell. And I'll leave you with a final message. Make sure you stay safe, stay home, protect everybody, protect all the key workers, NHS. See you soon, guys.
Thanks, Jody. I'm sure everyone loved hearing all about you and your interests. I think we'd like to see some astrology segments in M&A TV. So if anyone out there watching would like to see that, just drop us a comment so we can get Jody making up some episodes. He needs some extra work to do. So we have to keep up mithering him to get his work done and on time. So give him a shout out, make him do a few episodes for us. That'd be great. Up next we have Fran in Spiritual World talking about how you can find yourselves your perfect crystal. Over to Fran.
A crystal is a package of energy and mineral in an orderly, three-dimensional lattice. Each type of crystal has a unique geometric pattern. Although crystals look solid, like everything else, they are actually a few particles vibrating in a great deal of seemingly empty space. This space is filled with divine energy or consciousness. Choosing the right crystal for you is as simple as just opening up your palm chakras and trying to feel the crystal's energy as you are looking for your crystal. I will take you through an exercise to open those palm chakras for when you start to look for your own crystals. Open and close your hands, forming fists several times. Bring your hands together with straight fingers so that the palms touch. Flex your fingers down and open your hand slightly, then bring them back together again. Repeat several times. Your palms may start to tingle and it will feel as though a ball of energy is building up between them. You should always open up your palm chakras before working with any type of crystal. You should also open up the root chakra. Stand for a few moments with your feet slightly apart, your knees relaxed and a little bit bent, with your hands loosely placed on your lower stomach. Picture a dinner plate sized vortex of energy spinning beneath your feet. Consciously make a connection through your hands across to your hips, down each leg and out through your feet to a vortex below. Picture the earth opening up like a flower to receive 2 strands of energy. As you make the connection, bounce a little to strengthen it. Visualize the energy cords twining together to make roots that go deep into the earth and anchors itself to a huge iron crystal at the core. This cord is your anchor. It holds you lightly on the earth. Open up this chakra whenever you are working with crystals. Think about what you want the crystal to do for you. Is it to help you feel safe, to make you feel good, to protect you from emotions or stress? Is it to help you with work, or to make you feel safe in your space at home? Is it to help you relax, or to switch off your mind? Is it to change things around you? Ask all these questions before looking for your crystals. Walk into a crystal shop and let yourself be pulled in a particular direction rather than thinking about where to go. See which crystals catch your eye. You will need to take them home and purify them before working with them, as crystals pick up the energy of everyone that has handled them. Look at your collection with softly focused eyes and see which crystal winks at you. Alternatively, you can open the palm chakra and let your fingers intuitively pick the crystal up. Hold it gently and connect to its energies and to the sensations that you get from it. Is it warm? Is it cold? Does it give you comfort as you hold it? You can also use dowsing instruments, such as a pendulum, to help you find crystals. Simply by taking it with you into a shop and holding it over the crystals and asking it yes or no or maybe. As long as you know how your pendulum answers you, it will guide you to the crystals that you need to find. Now let's take a look at the crystal of the week, which this week is sodalite. Sodalite promotes magic, logic and intuition, which is a perfect aid when meditating. It helps transform any negative emotions into a balance and harmony, which aids relaxation too. It's great for helping open up the 3rd eye chakra. See you next week. Love and light.
Thanks, Fran. That is certainly a technique we will try out when we go crystal shopping in the future. If you don't know already, then this Thursday you may have noticed we have scheduled a brand new episode of Ghostly Tales of M&A. I almost forgot what it was called then. It's been so long since we've done one. Anyway, this episode was brought to you especially from Fran. It's her first ever ghostly tale for the team. So that is at 7 PM on this coming Thursday. So make sure you tune into that one and have a watch. And give it a thumbs up if you think Fran did a good job. She edited it all herself and just sent it to me to upload. So she did an awesome job. Make sure you tune in. Up next, we have a brand new segment brought to you by Chris. Take a look.
Welcome. Here in this series, we'll start a journey to have a look at some of the investigations of days gone by. We won't just look at our group either. As time moves ever forward, we'll look at the history of investigations of some of our friends too. But let's take a look at our history. And with any good journey, let's start at the very beginning. Bridgenorth Railway Tunnel. It's night 1, and I'm with Jody. And it's not long before things start happening.
No equipment there that you build to really care.
Sometimes they're hard to hear, but this one isn't hard to see. There wasn't much else after that. It was fairly quiet with Jody on night 1. But this is night 2, and I'm with Jay. A night that was fairly interesting in itself, presumably because of Jay's radically different energy. I have to admit that from here on out, I was using the much debated phone apps to see if I could use it to get any evidence. Some of it was fairly interesting. Other apps proved useless. But the one I really want to focus on is the Echovox app, as the story of it will become very, very interesting later on. But back to night 2 and Jay. Further into night 2, and I've noticed an incredible difference in the amount of activity around us. Being with Jay seems to have invited a lot more activity. Take this for example. At some point, the torchlight picks up something which seems to move. As the torchlight begins to pan down the corridor, at the bottom of it, you can see something move and fidget. It wasn't just the torchlight that was moving, something was moving against it. Jay himself kept reporting things to me, feelings, seeing things, and a sense that we were being followed. A sense, I might add, that was backed up by the fact we kept hearing sounds behind us, like things were being kicked. Progress-wise on the night, my only criticism for the investigation thus far is that we didn't really try everything. We did a lot of wondering, questioning. We never really got many hits on the K2, and we almost never recorded it. We didn't really plan it out as much as we could have, but it didn't stop the experiences rolling in, and I couldn't put my finger on why. Night 2 was so much different than the first. Was it Jay, and just Jay alone? Or was it a combination of me and Jay? Something about who we are that made them come out of the shadows. Night 2 proved to be a lot more interesting. In the latter half of night 2, me and Jay are slowly getting more proficient, using the tools appropriately and trying to record any results. As I stated before, I am using the Echovox app from time to time, and we are getting some results. But the next thing that follows is something that disturbed me greatly. and we looked at it afterwards. Jay continues to report that he's seeing things through the camera screen. At this point you can see my extremely focused torchlight on the walls. But it wasn't this brick wall and what Jay thought he was seeing that disturbed me. In a moment, you'll see the camera pan and my torchlight flow down the right-hand wall. It'll reach an alcove. You'll see it, but then you'll see something almost present itself in front of the light. Watch. Did you see it? If you missed it, take the video back and watch the torchlight go down the wall as a shadow figure seems to emerge in front of the light. It's very quick. It happens fast. But when I saw it, in review of all the videos, it made sense and began to link up with something that happened much later on. Now, apart from some random noises and some strange goings on, there isn't a lot more about Night 2 to be told. We continued to be as proficient as we could, and we continued to use the Echovox. Now, possible programming aside on the application, there seemed to be almost an argument happening, as from time to time these seemingly programmed responses would suddenly increase in intensity, as if two parties were having a disagreement. And this was as we were trying to make our way out. At this point, I want to make one thing clear. There is no chance that anybody could have got in behind us and created any of the sounds or experiences we felt, as the entrance to this place is an old, heavy, iron, squeaky, rusty gate. What I'm about to play for you is a taster of the Echovox app I was using. In another episode it's going to be pertinent, and you'll want to remember it. But this is a section where we're going to try and make our way out, and we start using the Echovox. And we're starting to notice some intelligent responses coming out of the device in direct answer to our questions. Listen.
Who's here with us? I'd very much like some names. Go away.
No, the more feminine one sounds like she's saying hope.
Is your name Hope? Stop. I'd like to switch over to Night 3, if I could. But sadly no audio or video survived the investigation. Let me tell you why. Let's extremely fast forward right to the end of Night 3. Me and Jody packed all the equipment away, double checked it was all turned off,
for the journey home. Secured in the back, sort of. It was left there overnight. I rarely do this, but we were tired and shaken. Snapped to the next morning after. Very little time has passed, I would say possibly 6 hours, since the end of the investigation. When I picked up the audio recorder, I found 46 hours worth of recordings. Suffice to say, that is impossible. And when I tried to extract the file from the audio recorder, everything locked up on me. The recorder, the PC, everything. None of the video files from the camera would work very well either, and the sound would prove to be unreliable. We even lost a few files as well. Sounds strange? Well, it's not quite as strange as what happened at the end of night 3. So let's rewind. The latter half of night 3, and I whip out the Echovox app again. We begin to hear the voices, and we start to get some responses, like you heard before. Some of them random sounds, some of them responses to our questions. But what happened at the end was frightening. So what was it about night 3 that scared me? Well, as we began to leave, we neared the gate. As we did so, I had a foreboding feeling behind me. As I turned to look, the Echovox called out in one clear-cut humanoid voice, unfettered by the program itself, and said, "Come to me." Chilled to the core, a black shadow figure moved out of the wall and began walking towards me. Suffice to say, we left. I really did enjoy this investigation, although it scared me. The result we had from it and what we learned from it was incredible. Although we were cutting our teeth and we were fledgling investigators, more ghost hunters at the time than anything else, we learned so much from this place. We learned how to pull together. We learned how to edit, how to investigate, how to get results, how to pick out what was strange and what was just our imagination. Big fact out from fiction, basically. So my thoughts are, this was a good first investigation. But just to finish things off for you, I'm going to let you hear one or two of the audio evidence clips that we have and see what you think. Thanks for watching. See you next time down Ghostly Lane.
Is anybody that died here?
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for in today's M&A TV. Before we go, we've got a couple of announcements to make. This coming Friday is my daughter Jessica's 13th birthday, so hope you'd all join me in saying a big happy birthday, Jess. Hope you have a wonderful day despite being stuck in the house on lockdown. Now, we've made some more plans with the group. We've been planning some more investigations for once lockdown is finally over. And I'm pleased to announce that we have got a lot coming up. We've also made some new friends within the paranormal community who also will be hoping to catch up with once everything's all back to normal and do some more investigations. So that's it for this week, guys. We hope you've enjoyed it as always, and we look forward to seeing you next week on M&A TV. Good night.